All right, everybody. Kevin Johnson here, managing editor for Treble.com, and I'm super happy to be talking with Billy Sheehan. Such a pleasure to talk to you, man. Thank you for taking the time. I know you just said you just got back, like, what, it was a little, like 10 days ago or something from the last Mr. Big show. Is that right?
About a week, yeah. We flew in from Romania. Was our last show.
That's kind of an interesting spot to stop or to end it. How did that work out? Just the routing?
Yeah, we never no band. We don't choose where we play. No band does. There's a constant controversy over that on my Facebook page. People getting hostile because I did. Why do you hate my city? Your city didn't book us. We was not up to us. We were selling a product. We can't choose who buys it. So we there was a festival way out in the countryside in Romania, and it's building. They've done it for maybe 3 or 4 years now. It's getting up to a pretty good spot. So probably in another 8 years, it'll be the Hellfest of Romania, or the Download Festival of Romania. So it'll be very successful. We're there. The crowd was a little light, but they were great, and it was kind of nice that we didn't have a high pressure show. Afterwards, they just opened the gate and let people like in the back area, and we all took photos and hung out. It was a wonderful time.
That's incredible. So I mean, the Mr. Big shows are done, right? That was the last tour date?
Yeah.
How does that feel for you?
Great, liberating and beautiful. It was a great. We had an amazing run. We had hit records, platinum albums, sold out shows all over the world, toured with huge bands, and had great, amazing times. And we wanted to go over the finish line running instead of crawling. So let's end it now while everybody's still in great shape. And sadly, we lost our drummer Pat a couple of years back, and that was a part of it for sure, because he was, the original band members are where it's at. Fortunately, Nick DiVigilio came in and just did an amazing job, just fantastic. But we do miss him, and we know we're all getting older, so we thought it would be wise to just let's put a period at the end of the sentence and close the book, and as a result, because it was our last shows, a lot of people went to great lengths to come out. We had people flying in from all over the world to see us at these shows, from all over South America, the rest of Europe and Asia and Japan and USA all came out. And it's been like that at all the shows. We've had people fly in from everywhere. And incredible friends we've made through the years, and almost all of them were there. We got to see them all. So it was great. It was really great. I absolutely loved it.
That's cool. That's one of my questions was going to be, if it felt like a strong finish, if you felt like it was complete, and it seems like you really do.
Yeah. Well, I see a lot of bands now. They're out, and God bless them. Nothing against them, but they got to use tracks or bring, or not much left of the original guys, And I understand, and I support them completely, but it just wasn't our thing. Losing Pat was so it's not, it'll never be the same without him. Nick did an amazing job, like I said, and it was spectacular. But I see a lot of bands out there, and the only thing left is the logo of the original band, and they're great, and they sound good, and people go out and they love this, singing along with the hits, and God bless them all, fantastic. But we just felt funny about that. We wanted to, like I said, cross the finish line in the upright position.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of dignity in that.
That's what we're shooting for. I don't know if that was the result, but that's what we went for.
Yeah. Part of the tour, and so you've got the new live album, The Big Finish Live, which is coming out real soon. Was recorded like at the beginning of the tour, really, right? In Japan?
Yeah, that's every time, even a regular record that you do in studio, at the end of the tour, almost every band I've ever been said, "Can we go back and re-record the record now? Because now we got it now." And your live performance adds a thing to it that it's hard to get when you just go write songs and go in the studio. That's why so many bands' first record is great, and their follow-up, it's a roll of the dice because they've been playing in clubs and live all the songs on their first record for years, and they got them down and they know their parts and if they breathe it, it's in their DNA. And wow, that first record is the first Van Halen record. Amazing, it's incredible. And then they have to start thinking it through, and quickly what they spent years working on for the first record, and then the next record's due in 8 months. So you got to hurry up. So I wish we could have gone back at the end of the tour and recorded the record. But as it is, it came out very nice. And a real extra element is the live Japanese audience, who has just been so incredibly kind and giving and generous to us through the decades. We will never forget them for that. So I'm glad we did it there.
Yeah, you've always had kind of a strong Japanese following. How did that kick off?
Well, our manager Herbie was friends with the main promoter in Japan, Mr. Udo, and they talked. And Herbie says, "I got this new band, Mr. Big," and Mr. Udo says, "Well, send him over." And so we got to play there early on, which was great. We would have had to proven ourselves a little bit more before we got over there, but having that opportunity right at the beginning was really fantastic. And a lot of bands get the Spinal Tap thing in their mind that, oh, just go to Japan. You can do anything you want on stage. They're going to love everything you do. We can go out there and slop through the songs. They get drunk, and they're going to just love it. No, it's not true. I know even some very famous bands that went over there once and never got asked back again because they thought that was the case. So we got there. We arrived early, stayed late, shook every hand, kissed every baby, signed every autograph, took every photo. And we hit it hard when we played. We made sure we were on, and they appreciated that. And so we got a bond early on with all of our friends in Japan, and it grew and grew and grew. And we ended up most bands, Tokyo, Osaka, maybe Nagoya. We ended up playing from the Sapporo in the north to Kagoshima with a volcano in the south, and everywhere in between, East Coast, West Coast, all over Japan, playing some places that no Western bands played, or few, if any. So it was really just an incredible cultural experience for us too. It's ingrained in all of our personalities now. What we've experienced in Japan, it's been just incredible culture, food. People who were so kind to us, and just so enriching.
Yeah. Well, I know it seems like Japanese audiences are just super attentive because one of the of course, we're bass nerds here. I had to go straight to the bass solo on the live album, and there's it's got like 3 applause breaks in it, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, they are very attentive. I used to say to people, when I get back to the States, they were, "What was Japan like?" I go, "It's so clean and perfect, and everything is right, and there's nothing broken, and there's not a shred of litter anywhere, and there's not a scratch of graffiti." I go home, take your VCR, get a Phillips head screwdriver, open it up, and look inside there. They did that, and that's how they are. They got it together. It's so fantastic. Yeah, it's and the food, the hospitality. I saw a kid riding a Razor scooter when they first came out in Japan, riding on the street, and he I think he recognized me and said, "Hey, where'd you get that?" And he goes, "Oh, there's this shop down. Well, let me take you." And he's with his mom, and so they both walked me several blocks to the Razor scooter store so I could buy one. It was before I don't think they were in America yet, or just barely. And this last trip where we recorded that live album, he and his mom showed up again 30-some years later to say hello. And she's quite old now, and she couldn't make it to the show. So he brought her to the lobby and emailed me, and I came down. And a relationship, decades of relationship with this young man. Now he's a businessman wearing a suit and tie, and he's successful. His mom is up there in years, but I posted about it because it's just the kind of friendships we made there were just incredible. Just one of the most enriching experiences of all of our lives.
That's so special. You don't get that very often.
No, you do not. Well, we're lucky. We've always been really tight with the fans. I remember a tour maybe 4 years ago, being in Germany in the winter, and it's raining and it's cold, and I had to sign autographs leaning over because if the water hit the Sharpie, they go out. They don't work if a drop of water. I've learned that the hard way. So I'd make sure that leaning over so that whatever I was signing would stay dry, and sign it and give the next one. And I stayed out there for about an hour in the rain, came in soaking wet, no problem. We had a ball. We had a wonderful time. And we've been like that with everywhere we go. Some places, especially when we had a number one single, it would get a little out of hand and we'd have to back off a little bit or get some kind of security or arrange to have a table set up and whatever. A few times it got precarious, but in general, I'd walk out in Indonesia and people would rush over and come. I said, "Wait, everybody, calm down. It's okay. I'll sign everything. Just everybody relax. Don't push. Just everything." And I'd stay there for 2 hours and sign, and it was experiences like that. That's Mr. Big. That's our modus operandi. There, we've had so much of that happen, and it's like I said, it's just you can't purchase that experience in any way. If you're lucky enough to have it happen, then it's quite a life changer.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to get back to the bass solo track on there, and just I love the arc and how the composition of it. I wanted to know, like, when you're working out a bass solo, I know how much of it is improv, how much are you working out, and how are you thinking about crafting it? So it's 6.5 minutes long.
Ouch.
Which I think for most bass players would be hard to, keep people interested that long.
Yeah, sorry.
But you do it. No, we love that. It's amazing.
Well, I started early on. We played the song Mr. Big in Tallis, and I had this section in the middle where Andy Fraser took a little solo thing he did. So one time we were at the Poorhouse West in Hamburg, New York, and I told the guys, "Hey, when we come to the solo thing, just stop." You know what? You can just stop and I'll do a thing, and then I'll count you back in. So we did. I stopped and I did weld around to some crazy shit. And 2, 3, 4, come back in. And it worked out great. And plus they had a chance to go out and get a beer and talk to some girls and stuff like that. So they were all into that. That helped them. So I've been doing a live unaccompanied solo since the early 70s. So it helps having that many decades of experience doing it. They're not, but I do make sure that they're not completely worked out and planned. So there's an element of surprise to me, which keeps me on my toes. I'll go for something that ain't working tonight for whatever reason. I can't hear what I normally hear, or my hands are not quite in the right shape, or the sound of the room is awful, or whatever thing. So I got to quick go to plan B. Then sometimes C, D, E, F, G to get to some spots that work. So through the years, you learn how to think on your feet, and you go to a spot. Maybe it is working, but it's not connecting with the audience. Get out of there. Go to another one. And it's interesting, and I never really thought it through. Though I've had similar questions before, I never really thought it through. But there's a lot of it has to happen on your feet. You have to, by the seat of your pants, so to speak, where you got to kind of figure out what you're going to do. So generally, I'll start kind of the same way and then see where it goes. And I always regret at the end. I go, "Oh, I forgot to do that thing. Oh, I forgot to do that other one thing." Oh, so I actually thought one time about, what if I write out a little list? I thought, that is never going to work, because I'm in the moment and doing my thing. I'm going to look around for the piece of paper, hope the light is on it. Now, what does it say? This is kind of I would have shot myself right in the foot with that. So yeah, it's a lot of it is improvised. Some I'm surprised myself because I'll go for something and really get it. Other times I'll go for something and not get it at all, but I've learned to cover it up so you won't notice that I didn't get it. And that's a big part of it too, being able to cover up catastrophes. You know, we were in the USA, I forgot where, and something happened in the front row. Somebody fell down. It wasn't a fight, I don't think, but something was happening right in front of me, in front of a sold-out show, and right in front of me, it's total chaos. And I'm trying to ignore it. Then I'm thinking, well, if I ignore it, what if it's something what if somebody's hurt? So I kind of just stopped for a minute, and everything okay down there? And it finally squared away and blew my momentum completely. And I tried to get back into it, and I just let's quit while we're behind and then go into the song. So you got to learn how to deal with almost everything. But it's good to know that stuff because it proofs you up against getting any kind of uncertainty about moving forward. Because no matter what happens, we've got something in the toolkit to figure it out and get back on track again. And but I practice a lot every single day on tour and as much at home here too. So I always come up with some kind of new thing, and I'll figure out what it is. Then I'll try to get it as good as I can get it. But still, then it's a long way off before I actually bring it up on stage. And when I eventually do, the first time, like I played Danny Boy in Ireland. My grandfather came from Ireland, and I did it by doing the thing where I like do a chord capo with a make the chord and go. It's hard to hear on this, but anyway, play the whole thing with that kind of droning, almost like bagpipes underneath it. They kind of drone like a traditional version of it would. And I made it, and I'd never played it live before, but I had played it a million times. I made it right to the end and flubbed. It might not have been noticeable to everybody. It was noticeable to me. So I kind of figured out a way to get the hell out of there. But I made it 99% of it I had down. So I was going to do it again we played Dublin and Belfast, but I thought, hold on a second. And I practiced it a lot too, but I just thought, my hands weren't quite in shape. We just come off a break, and my hands really weren't up to speed for it. I tried, but didn't make it. And that's what I'm primarily doing at home now, is I'm down here pounding this thing and a couple other basses that are more difficult to play on purpose, just to keep that my live calluses and my live strength. It's been difficult for me to do it in the past, but this time I've actually approached it a bit differently, and I seem to be holding steady, which is great, because every time I'm off for a couple of months, I go back to play. It's 2 or 3 weeks before I'm up to speed, really. And, I can get through it okay. It's passable, but I don't want to. I want it to be better, So keeping that live strength in my hands is a key thing. So in Dublin, I blew Danny Boy as a result, but not too many. They still clap. They're very generous. He tried. He almost got it.
You just said that you're taking a different approach to like staying up on your practicing. What's your approach?
Well, I just as simple and stupidly simple as it seems, play harder. And I would always avoid speed for speed's sake. I would always say speed is a byproduct of knowing what you're doing really well to the degree where you can do it snappy, do it quick. Then I thought, well, what about if I really hit it hard and as fast as possible? And I could hear like hundreds of people going, "Oh, practicing speed is wrong and stupid, and you're an idiot, and we hate you." But in fact, by doing so, in order to play something really fast, you got to have a complete handle on it. And it's a good way of judging how well you have a grasp of something. Can it go by fast? Not essential, not for everybody. If you got it, you got it. You don't have to play it faster to prove that you got it or to whatever. But for me, playing something really snappy and quick means I've got it down really, really well. And therefore, when I bring it back to actual speed, it's got a smoothness, a completeness. All the notes are there. All the notes are even. They start when they're supposed to start. They stop when they're supposed to stop. And it really does make a difference. So I've been hitting it really hard. And in the past, I've always ignored playing things fast. But now I'm actually doing things as fast as I can, as hard as I can. And it seems to be holding my calluses together. And I feel it in my hands and forearms and shoulders and down to my toes. It's tough. It's physically exhausting. I mean, I break into a sweat sitting on the couch practicing. I feel a little drip coming down, and but that's essential because live you're soaked and you're going full speed, hitting the mic and singing the part and popping back, and it's a very physical thing. So, doing things as quickly as I can, accurately, quick, and making sure it always sounds like music. I've always tried to make my practicing sound musical rather than just robotically go through patterns. Do it in a way that it sounds like if someone heard it, they go, "What song is that?" I go, "No, it's not a song, just a practice thing." So I prefer that because it kind of gets you in tune with things being musical as opposed to robotic and mechanical. However, and this is how my philosophy works for some reason. Then I'll purposely go robotic and mechanical just to break that down and make sure I've got robotic and mechanical if I need it. So the practice routine, I've been considering writing it down, videotaping it, because I've done instructional videos before, but nothing ever really that has methodical step-by-step way to get to where you want to get from where you are. And I believe, especially from doing my master classes during the pandemic, I couldn't play, so close to me was a great music store. We set up and did these hour-long master classes, and people flew in from all over the world to get them, and we had a really great time. Spent a solid hour or more with someone, face-to-face, right on, watching them and watching their hands and saying, okay, that's good, but what if, and so many of the wonderful people that join me in that have written to me. I always encourage them to stay in touch with me on social media, and they're doing better, and they're marked improvements, and so that's what I was looking for, a success for them to gain from what I'm showing them. And as a result, I think some of it I may verify to some degree the validity of it, so that it may be something that other people might find helpful. So at some point, I'm going to set up a bunch of GoPros and go through every step of it and try to get it documented.
Yeah, I'm already ready to sign up. So man, that sounds awesome. You got to keep us in the loop for that. One thing on your solo, and I know that it's a little different every time, but it's when I first listened to it, it sounded like palm muting, but I don't think it quite is. Like halfway through the recorded solo, I think because I watched a few other solos, I was wondering if it's where you're kind of setting a harmonic with your right hand and then tapping with your left. I was wondering if you could demonstrate that for us.
If I just touch the string down here, and then as that moves, this is a common thing everybody knows. Well, we all have that, but I just started doing and the thing that makes it work, or seemed to make it work, was I was doing rhythmic pulses with the left hand. We do 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 7s even. So as that moves, and it helps to have that distorted tone on my basses. Without that, just pure low end. When I bring this in, it brings in a clean tone and a distorted tone mixed. so you don't get total hash distortion. But it's also got enough distortion on it to get those to ring out. So that's an essential element of it, though with the bass off, though you probably can't hear it, it does the same thing. I practice a lot with no amp so I can get everything I need to get off the bass. Then when the amp comes in, suddenly you have this enhanced harmonic reproductions and so much more. But if you're not getting it with your hands on the bass, trying to get the amp or gear or a pedal to do it is in my humble opinion, the wrong approach. Though there are probably some people that do it and have a wonderful time and are much more successful than I am. So I try not to dismiss anything. Because how many musicians do you know that came and did a complete left turn and doing something completely different than everybody else did, and bang, and they've had incredible success with that. So I never try to dismiss a way that I might think is wrong, but this is the way that's worked for me. And a lot of people tell me the things that I do are wrong or incorrect or I shouldn't do it. I remember showing my calluses on social media and wrong technique, you know. So, well, bro, so far it's worked for me.
Yeah.
My bills are paid, so you know.
That's probably just some dude that sits in his basement to play. You know, that's.
Yeah, it's funny. The comments we get on the internet, you never know who they're from. And it's funny that they take into question sometimes somebody that's been able to do it career-wise, whatever. But in a way, it's kind of good too, because you see how you defend yourself against things. And sometimes I've been challenged. One guy one time, I think it was the beginning of the pandemic, challenged me on my right-hand technique, that it's always in this direction. Pinky, ring, middle, index, always. Usually 3 A's. He said, no, it should be back and forth. No, because the middle finger is doing twice as much. These guys are just playing twice as many notes as the two fingers next to it. And I was trying to explain to him, and he got pissy with me. And I said, well, good luck. Do whatever you want. And then he communicated it to me again. And in the interim, I had found a great video of Niels Henning Orsted Pedersen, who was probably the greatest bass player ever, bar none, on a stand-up bass. And what's he do? He's playing 3 fingers, and it's all in this direction. So I said, go look up Niels Henning Orsted Pedersen, and I never heard from him again. So, additionally, I hope I'm not taking too much time. Yeah, this is the way I do it, but I also practice it backwards and back and forth. So that no matter what eventuality comes that's required of me to play, I try to build a machine out of my fingers that will do anything that I can conceive of, no matter which direction, right, wrong, or indifferent, that it happens. So and sometimes practicing backwards or the wrong way will add a new aspect to the little micromusculature in your hand that is an advantage. And it's a funny thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's like learning one thing every way that you can.
Exactly right.
I don't see how it could hurt you. You have more ability and more, know-how.
Yeah, sometimes I'll take a pick and play. I got up with this band, the Las Internationale. They were doing a festival with us, and they're friends of mine. And the young lady singer is a quite great singer, a great band. And she was playing bass for a couple of songs. And so I got up, I learned one of their songs, I got up, and it was a little Mustang bass, like a 3/4 size. And the strings are close together, so I had a pick, and I played the song with the pick. What a riot. It was what a blast to actually perform a song with a pick. And I got back, and my left hand felt different. It felt more, and seemed to have more facility than it did before, because one hand compensates for the other often. So if you make the other one do something different, you come back to some new thing, hopefully a good thing.
You're just expanding horizons. I mean, that's always, I don't know, that's the thing for me. I'm the kind of guy that says there's not like one way to skin a cat.
Exactly. Exactly. I can't say that in front of the kittens now, but that's very true.
Oh, sorry. Too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, it's right. I try to make it a constant practice to keep up, and I am my own worst critic. Anything, the worst YouTube commenter ever has got nothing on me because I really am hard on myself. It's got to be right. It's got to be righteous. It's got to sound the way it's supposed to sound. Now make it sound different. Now play it backwards. All that. It's important. That's why it may seem unrelated, but years ago, me and all my musician friends back in Buffalo, we felt, and it's never failed us, we could tell how good a player was by talking to him for about 2 minutes without ever hearing him play. And it's never failed me yet. And I'll have guys, because you can kind of tell people who aren't as hard on themselves and therefore don't have the kind of stiff discipline it requires you to get up over that hump of ability. So I found it to be true so many times. A guy come up and he'd talk a mean battle and go, he's this and he's that and he's then I'd see him play and I go, I knew it. He's an okay player, but not what I think. Then I ran into a guy. His name was Chris Vorse. He had his PhD in analytical philosophy. And he started talking about it. Instantly I knew this guy is dangerous. This guy knows. He's a big John McLaughlin freak back in the Mahavishnu days. And sure enough, he was amazing. And we became friends. And he taught me things that I had no idea about that really changed a lot of my playing for the better. I learned so many great things from him. But he was a supremely well-educated person. People that got all these degrees and stuff, but how much of it sits inside them. And I remember it as a house, and he had this philosophy book about 4 inches thick. I opened it randomly, read a sentence, and he goes, that sounds like Thomas Aquinas. It was the chapter on Thomas Aquinas. You win.
Yeah, those people are scary. Yeah.
You can tell right away.
Man, music is such a humbler. I think that's probably, that's how you know who's serious and who's not, is if you've been humbled time and time again, then that's, you're putting in the work, right?
And the internet now really is an open portal to some of the most amazing. There's a gentleman, his name is Michael, last name starts with a P, he's a Greek gentleman, he plays the bouzouki. Like from another world. Unbelievable. I think he did a video and he purposely had a clock behind him so people thought it was sped up. They said it could not be real. It's not only fast, it's great. It's really just amazing. Another one, Yuja Wang, Y-U-G-A-W-A-N-G, Yuja Wang, a Chinese pianist. I think she's out of Toronto. Google her playing Flight of the Bumblebee, which is one of my least favorite classical pieces of all because it's kind of cliche. And you see her doing it on the piano like a fiend from another world. And she's beautiful, sweet, cute young lady. And she tears that, and she's a little thing, she tears that grand piano apart like I've never seen before on Flight of the Bumblebee. It's insane. And I see somebody like that. Or another one is jazz pianist Connie Han, H-A-N. Chinese woman, again, like Art Tatum reincarnated, only cute and amazing, mind blowing, phenomenon of nature. And then I pick this up and go, who am I kidding? Come on, are you serious? And I just get back to work. God damn it. And hit it as hard as I can. So it's good. It's forever an inspiration when you see people that are mind blowing. And like I mentioned, Niels Henning Orsted Patterson, him and Joe Pass doing Donna Lee together, which Chaco did on his debut solo record, but at twice as fast. And of course, Joe Pass, forget it. His live album, I think he just went in the studio and just recorded it, and that was it. The story behind it is unbelievable, but it is in fact true, and it's just so good. He knows so much that I haven't a clue about. I see guys like that, and man, I'm discouraged, and I'm okay. Get back to work. Get on it.
Well, hey man, I don't know if you knew this, but you're that guy for most bass players too. So I mean, there. So I mean, there's that too.
That is the case, and I always say there's nothing I do that you can't do if you just take the time and approach it. And I'm really a firm believer in that. I think anyone is capable of doing just about anything when you see examples of it all over the place. So, and a lot of times I remember some of the early clinics I did in Japan. We'd have a big full house, and they'd bring 4 or 5 people up on stage with their basses, and I'd go with each one individually in front of the crowd. And they were brave enough to do that. And I'd show somebody would be trying to do something, couldn't do it, and in a couple of minutes, he was halfway there. And you see that it is possible to achieve it. Sometimes a little guidance from someone else helps. Sometimes you got to dig deep within yourself and figure it out on your own. That is a quality and an advantage to it as well. But I think that anything is possible, except me playing as good as Yuja Wang.
Well, yeah, you're supremely humble, man.
You have to be. I really think you have to be. It could be no other way. Because when you see artists like that, and I'm again like, what? Billy who? Come on, look at that. I think humility comes from real hard honesty. You have to look at yourself really hard, honestly. And that's what I say when I'm practicing. If that's not right, it's not right. I know it's not right. I can get by. I can fool somebody into thinking it's right, but it just ain't. And that hard honesty with yourself, you could only come to the conclusion that you need a lot more work.
All right. Well, cool, man. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I do want to know, Mr. Big is, that's got a nice bow on it, but you're clearly not done playing. What's going on for you? What's coming up next? Do we have any more Billy Sheehan solo albums in the works?
Yes, I do. Ray Lugier, my drummer I used on all my solo records, I think, except for the first one. He lives here in Nashville as well. He's one of the reasons I moved here, because he's such a dear friend and a great, great drummer. So we're going to work some stuff out, come up with another thing of that. I've got about 3 or 4 different configurations of people that I'm considering going out on tour with or doing a record with. Once I get over my jet lag completely, I'll make some decisions on that. But yeah, I live to play live, and I play live to live, and I got to play. So I'll be out there as soon as I have another outfit to perform in some capacity. I don't know what I'll do. Make a left turn or right turn, stay down the center lane, or pretend I'm in England and drive on the left. So one or the other.
Cool, man. Well, thanks again for taking the time. This has been great.
My pleasure,
and
Kevin.
we're all excited for what's coming next, and keep it going.
Great, man. Well, thanks for having me, and be sure to send me a link I can post for all my friends to see this. I enjoyed doing the interview with you very much.
Yeah, thanks, man. Same here.